Today on the newscast, Israel strikes Hamas in Gaza after a volley of rockets targets Israeli cities. Is there more to come? Get all the breaking details next. Hey folks, Eric Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. Things are heating up once again between Israel and Palestinian terror groups. Now, on yesterday's Watchman live stream, if you missed it, you can check it out here in our archives. Just go to the homepage and go under Newscast, and you will find it there. We broke down this major Israeli counterterrorism raid that took place yesterday in the city of Nablus in the West Bank. Now, the world calls it the West Bank. Here at the Newscast, we call it Judea and Samaria because that's what the Bible calls it. It is the biblical heartland. Nablus, for instance, was known in the Bible as Shechem. It is where Joseph is buried. Nonetheless, today that city unfortunately has become a hotbed for Palestinian terror groups, including Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and a newer group that calls itself the Lion's Den. Now, yesterday, during this counter-terror raid, Israeli forces entered Nablus to make an arrest of a terrorism suspect who was involved in the death of an Israel Defense Forces soldier a few months ago. But things didn't go smoothly, folks. They were attacked, Israeli forces, on all sides by members of Palestinian terror groups. Again, Nablus, like Jenin, another West Bank city, has really become a hotbed for terror activity, and it has been for years. These groups surrounded Israeli forces, opened fire, and a major firefight ensued. Now, at the end of the day, Israel got the suspect. They killed several members of these Palestinian terror groups, including members of Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and the Lion's Den. Over 100 people were injured. No Israeli soldiers were killed or injured reportedly, but things really heated up there, and no surprise, Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad vowed revenge right away. And as we shared on yesterday's live stream, Israel was bracing for a response, namely rockets out of Gaza, where Hamas and Islamic Jihad really have their main power bases. Hamas, of course, rules Gaza with an iron fist. Well, that's exactly what we got early this morning. 6 rockets were fired out of Gaza into southern Israel, targeting the Israeli cities of Sderot and Ashkelon. Now, thankfully, again, no Israelis were hurt or injured in this rocket volley, but Israel certainly was compelled to respond. That's a non-starter. To allow your territory to be bombed with rockets, Israel responds as it should, and it struck Hamas military targets, including a naval weapons depot of Hamas and another rocket factory belonging to this Iran-backed terror group. Israel says the strike was very effective and set back Hamas's capabilities. But folks, we shall see. Obviously, this is just the latest flare-up coming out of Gaza over the past decade and a half, and this is a persistent thorn in Israel's side. Every time Israel acts against terrorists in the Jerusalem area, for instance, or in Nablus or in Jenin, you've got the response out of Gaza. Yes, Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad have a strong presence in the West Bank area, Judea and Samaria, but again, as I mentioned a minute ago, their main power base is certainly in Gaza. We're going to break down the larger ramifications of this in a second. You've got the backdrop now. Where is it all heading? What does it all mean? Before I get into that, just a quick reminder to subscribe to the Watchman News channel right here on YouTube and click the notification bell so you get alerts every time a new video is posted. Give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate your support here on the channel, and we invite you to join us, if you haven't already, as watchmen and women on the wall for such a time as this. By the way, programming note, we had the live stream yesterday. If you missed my wide-ranging interview with our good friend Amir Sarfati of Behold Israel, that was posted here on the channel on Tuesday, February 21st. You won't want to miss that, folks. Check that out as well. Amir really broke down everything happening in the region right now and how it affects you, no matter where you live. Well, if another war breaks out between Israel and Hamas, that will certainly have a major impact on the Middle East. So where do things shape up right now after yesterday's events? The major counter-terror raid, the rockets fired, and Israel's response. Well, number one, I think that we will see more counter-terror raids in places like Nablus and Jenin and in the Jerusalem area as well. Sadly, Hamas and Islamic Jihad and this group that I mentioned that calls itself Lion's Den, they continue to plot new attacks against Israel. And folks, reminder, Israel is in the midst of I guess you would call it a mini terror wave. We've had two horrific, deadly attacks in Jerusalem over the past month that we have documented here on the newscast. So certainly Israel is on high alert right now, and what they want to do is preemptively take out terrorists before these attacks can come to fruition. Makes a lot of sense, right? But Hamas and Islamic Jihad, they don't like that, surprise, surprise, and they threaten reprisal attacks every time Israel conducts a counter-terror raid. So look for more counter-terror raids, number one. Number two, a few dates that you should circle on your calendar, folks, because they may shape up to be pretty eventful. Number one, Ramadan, the Muslim holiday, starts on March 22nd. It lasts for about a month. And number two, Easter is on April 9th. And number three, Passover is on April 5th. And that lasts for about a week as well. So this is a year that Ramadan, Passover, and Easter all pretty much converge. And that means that there will be a very volatile situation, especially in Jerusalem. Remember, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, these Palestinian radical groups, they use the Temple Mount, in particular the Al-Aqsa Mosque, as their rallying cry and as a reason to attack Israel. Think back to that May 2021 war between Israel and Hamas. It was all about Jerusalem. Hamas painted itself as the defender of Al-Aqsa and accused Israel of defiling the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So you can expect that rhetoric to certainly increase during Ramadan. There will be more activity, of course, on the Temple Mount, where the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock stand today, but which was once home to the first and second Jewish temples as described in the Bible. Nonetheless, you can expect during Ramadan, Passover, Easter, there will be more activity on the Temple Mount and more potential for a major flare-up. So we're keeping a very close eye on that. We are praying for the peace of Jerusalem, praying that does not happen, but it certainly bears watching. Lastly, you might say, okay, we have another volley by Hamas, things are heating up. Does that mean another war? I mentioned that May 2021 war, an 11-day affair. Remember August 2022, Israel and Islamic Jihad went toe-to-toe in Gaza. Hamas did not get involved in that. And why? Which brings me to the larger point. Hamas and Islamic Jihad are still licking their wounds from their previous engagements with Israel. They're not quite ready for another major conflict with Israel right now. So what you will see is certainly more flare-ups, but will you see a major showdown between Israel and these Palestinian terror groups out of Gaza in the near future? Never say never, sadly, folks, because things have a way of spiraling out of control in the region. Expect the unexpected in today's Middle East, certainly, but I get the sense that Hamas and Islamic Jihad are not ready for a major conflict with Israel right now. The simple fact is they are steadily rearming. Even if Hamas and Islamic Jihad do not feel quite ready to go toe-to-toe with Israel yet again, if Iran, which is their benefactor, remember, these are two Iranian proxy groups, if Iran says, go, act now, do it now, they really don't have all that much of a choice because they, in particular Palestinian Islamic Jihad, are very reliant on Iranian largesse and Iranian funding and support. So the Iranian regime, as always, it seems, the head of the snake in the region when it comes to terror is really calling the shots there. We're watching all this very closely, folks. Until tomorrow, thanks so much for joining us. God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, click subscribe, and tap the bell icon to turn on notifications for new Watchman Newscast episodes every weekday.